All right. All right. So I'm doing this for pop horror, I believe. So I've got some questions for you. So, Christopher, you said the Prowler began with the question, what if fear itself became the villain? So, how did that concept evolve? And what uh, what did it do to shape the film?
I guess, because I think along with the main character, the audience is so disoriented. I wanted it to play like an extended nightmare, and you putting them in his shoes because he doesn't know what's going on, and he doesn't know what he's afraid just like we are. And I thought it'd be interesting if a character like this was afraid to see them afraid
Sure.
because you're so used to the opposite. And if it was the opposite, it'd be more of a generic story that you've seen 100 times. So to see a character like this afraid made me really interested in telling the story.
All right. And so, Aaron, is your microphone on? It looks like it's switched off over
Oh
there.
no, no, it's
Okay.
on. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right. So, psychological horror depends on what a character is thinking rather than what they're saying. So, how did you
Mm.
prepare to
Mm.
portray someone whose grip on reality is constantly challenged?
I asked a lot of questions.
All right.
I asked a lot of questions to my director, obviously Christopher. I think maybe at one point was maybe he won't say it now since he'll kindly won't respond, but I'm sure to him at some point he was like, just fucking do it, dude. Like do what I'm telling you and trust me, and that's it. No, I think that's the interesting thing about the director and actor relationship, right? At some point, there's got to be the trust has to be there, right, in order for the dance to kind of go, and then
Sure.
that to be showcased on screen, and then hopefully received well, right? I think it's very interesting the way in which you just said that, right? That when it comes to the psychological aspect of things, it's rather
Yeah.
than telling you, it's showing you or showing you
Hmm.
how that person or why they've gotten to where they've gotten to, and I think the perfect symmetry of that was Christopher making this somewhat of like a silent film up until the points where the dialogue needs to happen, or it does end up or there's pockets of sound that come through, but once again, that we're riding that line of the fear being fear driving kind of the thing, but it's portrayed by this silence too of the film, and I think it's one of those things where it not only helped my character or me as an actor to be able to kind of ride on the fact that that was the thing too, and to also be comfortable enough within that uncomfortability of what that is too, because naturally, or one would think that like a performance is based on what everything I can do or what I'm not doing. So it's one of those things where it was not it wasn't a challenge. It was a challenge in the sense that I think mentally for me I wanted to showcase it to myself that I can sit still and I have the freedom and the liberty to do so because my director is telling me no, this is exactly the way that it's supposed to go, and it's reading well, right? That's one of
Hmm.
those things too where like I've already mentioned this, but I would look at Chris would be like, all right, cut, we got it, and I would be like, you you sure we got it, or we could do it another 17 times. So it's one of those things because once again, I was just hoping that I was portraying whatever uh, uh, under I guess like the diaspora of fear or like suspect. I was just always hoping that I was hitting my marks or that I was conveying or portraying the things that were happening in those moments, right? Because
Sure.
it's not like we shot everything in sequence. So there's moments where, we'd already be in this part of the story or this, that, and the third. And because there's no dialogue, so you can't really fully remember where you are. There's moments where I'm having to ask my director, Chris, like, hey, what exactly is going on here? What do you think about this? So it's that constant dialogue that we're having as well that like for me, that helps me. I
And
almost become like an annoying child slash student.
that's a bit of a challenge to portray somebody who has fear because if it's not done well and people
The
can
audience will
normally
see that.
tell.
Yeah.
There's plenty of bad horror movies where you can tell an actor is
And as
not
we
really
know,
trained or whatever. So
the
I,
horror and thriller
well, this
genre
is
is
my personal
unforgiving and
opinion.
yeah, yeah.
I think you did a good job of
Thanks, man.
saying
Thank you.
fear at least. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Thank you.
and that's just one of the simple things that you have to do for a movie like this.
Right.
Mhm.
So, Christopher, you've cited Puerto Rican folklore and supernatural stories as influences. So, were there any specific legends or experiences that found their way into the Prowler, either directly or symbolically?
I think it's just I guess in because like I grew up in a Puerto Rican family that I lived in Puerto Rico for a little while, two times and or two separate times. And you hear about the chupacabra, and it just like kind of like gives you that, it sparks your imagination, and then you have these uncles who are telling you these crazy stories about possession and all that stuff, and you're just like, it's like a big mix. And then I grew up on these movies, like they informed everything for me, but yeah, it's all a soup that gets put into here because I wanted to lean into, is this supernatural? What's going on? Is it something more grounded, or is this guy just cracking up? You don't know for a lot of it. And for me, this was true, particularly growing up, is that you had this, people were so, and it's still true to this day, is that people have this perception of a situation or a person, and they think, they take it all in face value, and they think they have all the facts, of said situation or person. And then they, and then all of a sudden you get the full story, and you're like, wait a minute, like that's not at all what I thought this was. and and that's what I tried to lean into the most out of this whole thing, is really to play with your perception.
Sure. And let's see, where was I here? Oh yeah, so the film kind of keeps you questioning what's real until the end. So how did the two of you collaborate to strike that balance between ambiguity and authenticity, I suppose you might say?
I would say, it was just like Aaron was saying, it was a constant dialogue because a lot of this is counterintuitive. Like for Aaron, like because of who his character is, he think it's easy to lean into that, and just, okay, here I'm gonna do this, and I'm like, it was a constant like push and pull, like where you're like, hey, like not yet. There was a couple. In some of the raw footage, you'll hear me say, "You're not that guy yet. You're not that guy yet. Not yet. Like, you're not there yet, or we're not there yet." And he'd be like, "Okay, okay, okay," and then he would go back, and because no matter who you are, somebody's afraid of something, and I just wanted to lean into that.
All right. And Christopher, you wrote, directed, and edited the film. So, how did wearing all those different hats affect the final version? And were there moments where the editor and you disagreed with the director or the writer?
For sure, for sure. There was a moment just before the climax, I guess, of the short, when he walks down the hallway. There was another, pause there, where there was another moment where, as the writer, I was like, oh yeah, he needs to stop here and question, and like, or have a question of, am I hearing this, or is this in my mind? Like, it was another one of those. And then the editor came in, and the director, I guess, both teamed up on the writer, and we're like, let's get rid of this.
Sure.
It's just too much. You can't. Yeah, yeah, it's just like you can only stretch that rubber band of suspense so far, and before the audience starts to get like, all right, like, and I'm very cognizant of that when I'm watching a movie. Sometimes I'm like, all right, let's get on with it. Like, let's, as an audience member, I'm just like, all right, like, enough, like, and I've been guilty of it myself in some of my earlier work, where I've been trying to build suspense, and then watching it in hindsight, I'm like, man, that was way too long. Like that needed to be half that. at that time. So it just comes down to experience at the end of the day. More and more experience. I know when it's time to, all right, let's give the
All
audience
right.
the goods.
So my last question here will be for Aaron. So you've appeared in things like Only Murders in the Building and the Inspection and Shaft. So where does the Prowler fit into your career? And did this role challenge you to do anything differently?
It's at the top of the list. Um, Absolutely. I think to answer, yeah, I mean, in two parts to answer, yeah, it's at the top of the list, not only because of the world that Christopher and I are gonna get to. I don't want this to go unsaid. I'm a huge fan of Christopher's work. That's the thing. So to be able to work alongside him and collaborate and to continue to do so, I hope I hope it's a longevity thing. I hope it's a career thing. For me. Uh, so when it comes to the Prowler and the feature that we have lined up, it's at the top of the list for me because of the caliber of work that I feel like I'll be afforded or what I'll be able to kind of be able to project and project. I mean, like as career wise and what I'll be able to do with that is a dream. Uh, and yeah, it was probably one of the more challenging things once again because of the dialogue or the lack thereof, the dialogue and the psychological aspects, and Christopher telling me, hey, look, we're not in that part of the, although your character is this person in these circumstances did or what they are and these things and these events did happen, we're telling the story now from this different perspective. So and unbeknownst to the audience, you're not quite there yet. So it's all these things. It's kind of like that tug of war, right? That push and pull where um it's incredibly challenging and stretching for me as an actor. But that's what we look for. I mean, that's where some of the best work is done. It's my personal opinion. Obviously, someone else could be like, "The hell does Aaron know?" But I think that's some of the best work that any artist can do. Right? It's just, I'm sure
Right.
Christopher in his own light can say that as a director, writer, producer, editor. He can say that when you're being stretched, obviously, with within its nuance or different in different ways. But for me as a performer, I think that's when sometimes you can get some of the best
All right.
some of the
And
best out of someone.
this will also be a podcast episode. Just to let you know, I kind of forgot to mention that at the beginning there, but just so you know,
Oh,
you
cool.
know, I'm sure you don't mind.
No, I don't.
I
That's
don't know.
really cool. Thank you.
Also, like, how are you experiencing forest fire smoke at
In New
all where you
York,
are?
in New York, I am.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we're getting tons of it here, man. It's like
Where are
all
you
Where
at?
over.
are you?
Wait.
I'm in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan right now,
Oh, right on.
so
Oh,
Yeah.
we've got like,
Excuse me. Yeah.
yeah,
Wait.
we've got
I'm in New
tons of
York
it.
right now. There's the sky
dang.
since yesterday morning.
Yeah,
The sky's completely like a milky gray.
yeah,
You cannot.
it's
This
pretty
is
freaky.
It is pretty freaky. There is, you
Man,
see, in this
this
cough
fire
that I've
must be
got going too,
massive.
dude,
Yeah,
it's bad. Like yesterday, yeah, it was just completely gray. There was like it started raining out of nowhere. It like stormed for an hour straight,
yeah.
and then it stopped, and it was super windy. It felt like a movie. It was like this is
Oh yeah, it
a
is. Well,
twister.
we've got both Minnesota and Canadian forest fires going on right now,
Oh
so
my
Oh,
it's
goodness.
that's
like we're
right,
being
dude.
teamed up on.
Michigan, yeah, Michigan's
So,
just going
The
through it, dude.
Avengers of forest fires.
but anyway, I'll let you guys go. It was
Thank
great
you.
talking to you.
But
Thanks
thank you,
for
Wade. Thank you for having us.
joining us.